we can have an idea of the power of this instrument. This ridiculous thing is the resolution, is the beam size, right? And in some of this mass, the signal to noise is of the order of 300. So really, we are dealing with very high. Well, all these maps you see here are in logarithmic scale. It's impossible to represent the observation in a linear scale just because all the levels would be together. So this is a logarithmic scale with a jump of factor 3. So you can realize that, I suppose, which is the quality of the observations provided by this instrument and the amount of things that we can do. So I think that's all. Thank you very much. Maybe I can show you, because I have time, the model that explains these observations. Well, these are predictions for the year 322, and this is the distribution of material, the density distribution, and the velocities that can reproduce that. In this case, we are not showing the rotation, right? It's just this is the discrete rotation. This is rotating more or less perpendicularly to the paper, right, to the screen. So I am not representing the rotation, but you can see the expansion, and we interpret that this gas in expansion is being extracted, is being entrained by interaction with the very fast and collimated jet, which is going to be like here in this nebula. And also note that if really this gas is coming from the disk, the lifetime of the disk, of this disk, must be very, very low, of a few thousand years, right? Okay, probably we think that these results will typically apply to all the sources. But now it's resolved.
Thank you, Gal. Questions? Yes, sir.
A remark and a question. Well, those of you who want to see my movies of the Great Rectangle will come and see me at the poster thing. The remark is that you were asking about this disk structure and things, right? Yes. Now, of course, there is an enormous amount of angular momentum in cold storage, and from the observations of super-Jupiters, it seems that it's relatively close to the star in many cases. Yes. But that could be picked up as soon as the star expands a little. My question is about the eccentricity of the M29 orbit. Is that eccentricity zero, or what can you say about that?
How can I know that? The question is, of course, all what I know is the difference between the velocity and the position of the two rings, right? Mm-hmm. So from that it's impossible to study the eccentricity. We assume that the orbit is circular to calculate the times and the mass of the we didn't consider the orbit. We have anyway. We have no way to estimate the eccentricity of the orbit. So we assume it's zero.
Thank you.
But I suppose it will not change a lot if you take some moderate eccentricity.
Well, in the case of Peter Carr, Nicola and I found that it makes a lot of difference even at relatively small eccentricity.
Next question, please.
Valentin, as I pointed out in my talk, and as you have known, there are these two kinds of post-interview objects. The most prominent are the Nebulae, Nebulae, and these what I'm calling disk post-interview objects, which you show me examples of. So the similarities I find is in the disks themselves, or the core, whatever they are, supported. And one common thing is that both of them seem to have very large subunit excesses, which indicate the presence of large grains. Subunit excesses, which indicate the presence of large grains. So are those, do you have anything to say about how they could be formed in these lifetimes of 1,000 years?
How did this form?
How these grains, large grains, can be formed?
Well, the question is one. I told at the beginning that it was thought that these objects may have a very small circumbinary disk. The reason to think so is that, first of all, there is hot dust, so you need material kept close to the star during a long time. And second is that you see, for instance, big grains and also a high degree of viscosity. So it seems that the grains have been processed during during a long time. So it seems that the brains have stayed a long time in the disk. So the way to explain that you have this high, this large brains, is to assume that you have a way in which the brains stay a long time and they have time to grow up. So I suppose is the answer to your question. Yes.
So the next question will come from Madam Frank, but I want to intervene. The hands, the first timers are all sitting in the back of the room, and there are no questions coming from back there. You guys, come on, wake up and get into the game. Adam.
For the first timers, in order for the old people right now, have the jobs to know who you are, you have to ask questions so you don't know who you are. That's one way of making impressions. I'm saying that's what Alright, so here's my question. Do you show for M290 you have multiple rings being expelled, right?
In M290, do the sign, yes.
Yeah. And so those two rings are you associating those with pieces of the spiral, or do you think those are separate? I guess
I think in some way they are two pieces of a spiral. The question is that the software, first of all, you can have a spiral, you can observe a spiral, even if the envelope is spherical, right? Because depending on the angle you see it, even if the angle is not exactly hollow, you see the spiral, right? So the question is, you detect the spiral, even if the angle is in a spherical, in an isotropic way, right? But in this case, it is not isotropic. First question, it is in the equation, it's just in the plane. And second, it's true, if we forget the rest of the envelope, we take into account we are just discussing a plane, two planes in a plane. Really, they are two pieces of a whole spiral. Yes, it is. I think it's okay, but don't forget that in the other sources, for instance, in our sculptures, probably the ring is spherical. It's not flat. It's not a plane. It's spherical. So that is a different, but I think it's essentially the same process.
Ursula, very quick question.
So from this.
Not very quick, we have still time.
I'm getting the impression that you don't know whether the disks are rotating for a lot of objects. For a lot of objects, you don't know. So can you give me a idea?
The statistic is the following. Of the total post-AGB identified today, I think that the majority are low mass post-AGB sources, right? And about one half of these low mass post-AGB objects, right, show the near infrared texts. And always you have a near infrared texts, you have a disk in rotation. And I know that these disks I have shown are not so small as the other that used from the grain. They are quite big, they are several 10 to the 16 centimeters. So they are really, if you compare the disk size with the total size of the nebula, it's comparative, right? It's a good deal of the total nebula.
And for the other half, you can say they're not.
No, I can't say that.
Well, you don't know.
I didn't observe them, I'm sorry. Maybe in the future.
Thank you, Valentin. Next speaker is Eric Lockneck. Dutch